Hi everyone, it's Amanda again, and I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you about the first time I ever tried to gamify my classroom, and that was through the game of Kingdom Quest. Kingdom Quest is a unit about the Middle Ages for high school world history students, most of whom are freshmen in high school, although I do have a few upperclassmen in my class each semester. Kingdom Quest was very much a character-driven game, and the way that I begin the game each semester is that I pre-divide the students into kingdoms. Usually I do that by trying to balance different areas, including academic skill or potential and social skills and leadership abilities, so that each kingdom at least has a fair shot going in, pretty even distribution of talent among the kingdoms. And then what I do, I announce that students will be working in teams called kingdoms, and I divide them out. And I go to each kingdom and I have them draw different roles out of a hat. And depending on the size of my class, I have from 4 to 6 different roles that take place in the kingdom, all the way from serf, peasant, lord or lady, knight, king or queen. And so they draw their particular role in the feudal system out of that hat, and that begins the game. From then on out, they are the person who they draw. I try to leave the roles gender neutral, so guys and girls have a fair shot at being anything they want to be. And they start out with Quest 1, which is reading and researching and finding out a little bit about that particular role in feudal society. So as you can see here on the screen, I host my game on a wiki. And I really like to use PBWorks as the website to host my wiki. I just find it very user-friendly. The students can log in very easily, and it's very much what you see is what you get, so an easy interface for them to use. And for me to keep track of, I can easily control and keep track of any updates or any changes to the wiki. I can password protect pages or not, depending on what I wish to do. And when I was teaching middle school, all of my students weren't 13 yet, so all of them didn't have email addresses to use, but I could just create a username and password for them on PBWorks, which was something that I really liked being able to do. So on our class wiki, and as you can see, this is for our whole class, I just created a folder called Kingdom Quest here, where I host the game. And the first quest that students are asked to complete is hosted here on the wiki. And this is divided into smaller challenges. But as you can see, it says, the fantastical Empress Pratina, that of course is my character in the game, will assign your role within society, spend some time reading about your position, formulate a name and avatar for yourself, create a wiki profile with your new name and avatar. And so when they click on that link, it takes them to some different information about different roles within the feudal system. So they read about their particular role and create a profile page for themselves. So here's one example from a student that I had. She drew the nobility card, and so she used the medieval name generator to create the name Lady Christine Payne. And the way I asked them to choose their avatars, I actually have a Renaissance art worksheet for them to work through where they analyze art as a primary source. And whichever picture they choose, they have some time to look through different galleries, and then they just cut a headshot out of one of those works of art and use that for their avatar. So here's the avatar she chose. They also get to choose the name of their kingdom, so they name their kingdom Everlong. And they write a short journal entry to describe a typical day in their life. So you can see she's done that here. Their page is also a page for them to keep any individual work that they do throughout the game. So it's kind of a hub for them to host their character, but it's also a place where they'll come back and post other assignments as the game progresses. Because one of the big takeaways from this unit is the feudal system, another thing I asked them to do early in the game is to actually write their own feudal contract working together in their kingdom. And so they write a feudal contract. Here's one example that I had that kind of outlines the duties, the obligations, and the privileges of each person in their kingdom. I do sometimes throw a freeman in there. As you can see, the freeman almost always chooses to be a spy. They have a list of occupations they can choose. And then because, for instance, in this class, their kingdoms were groups of 6, sometimes I break them down into pairs to complete some assignments, and I call those provinces. So here they've listed their provinces for me, Eastern, Northern, and Western province within this kingdom. Something else I do to help drive home the idea of feudalism is I extend these privileges and obligations to class time. So for instance, anything that students need has to go through the chain of command. If they're a serf, they have to ask any questions they have to the knight, who then asks the lord or lady, who then asks the king or queen before they ask me. This helps in a few ways. Again, it helps this idea of feudalism and thinking about privilege. It also helps with reciprocal teaching because they're having to ask their peers questions before they can come to me. It also helps them to build some collaborative skills within the classroom. So I do these things for classwork questions, for permission to go to the restroom, all sorts of different areas to help drive home this idea of privilege, but also responsibility. Yes, the king has to give permission for you to ask me something, but also it's his or her responsibility to help you understand if you don't understand, and he does or she does. Another thing I do in the first few challenges is have them go ahead to build camaraderie and build team spirit, is have them create a coat of arms, and that's one of the first competitions that I have, is I actually have them draw and create a coat of arms, like you can see here. And I have them do that just using the materials in my classroom, paper, markers, crayons. But they also have to write a paragraph to explain their coat of arms. And so they have to explain the symbolism behind each color or picture that they've chosen. And then I actually send those out to a live audience via email or Twitter. Or this year we happened to be presenting some work at a conference, so the students just took it with them to the conference and let real people vote on which one they think is the best or the most creative, and that kingdom earns the points. I also have them come up with a motto, and a lot of times they choose to put their motto in a different language. So those are just some of the examples in those early quests of things I do to kind of build the game, to help them invest in their characters, invest in their kingdom, and build some excitement and creativity around this unit. As you can see, I post each quest and the directions that go with it on the wiki. So after the introductory quest, the next one is actually sort of a menu of different assignments that students can use to learn more about this time in history. And so it's divided into 3 different parts, and basically it's a jigsaw. It's a fancy jigsaw where students are assigned one topic, they research that topic or read about it, they prepare a way to share that information, and then they present it to their kingdom. But you can see all of the language here is gamified, so they have an investigation, they have a report, and then they share that at a kingdom summit within their team. And I have rubrics for these assignments, but I try to give them choices, again, to increase the motivation and to help differentiate within my classroom. So they have choices for each of these areas, how they're going to do the research, how they're going to present the information, and then they share that with their kingdom at the summit. Quest 3 was a little bit higher level, looking into the Renaissance. So students were assigned a topic of the Renaissance, and they wrote I wonder questions to guide their research about that particular topic. I found the I wonder questions to be incredibly valuable because it helped the students invest in their learning. The students on their evaluations really told me they enjoyed getting to choose the things they were learning about. And I helped them to share that information or share the things they learned on their character pages. So you can see Christine Kane, she's got 7 different questions, things that she wonders. And then throughout her research, as she found the answers, she put those on her wiki page. And you can see she put sources to further information for some of them. They had the choice. You can see she chose to put her answers in print, but I also gave them the choice to put their answers in captions or even in podcasts. So they had some choices about that. what they thought was the best way to show the information that they learned. So I was going to show you another student. Okay. He had his avatar and his I wonder questions, and he actually put a picture to go with each answer for his I wonder questions. So they were worth different amounts of points. The student was trying to get a lot more points than the other kingdoms when he completed that part of the quest. Also on my wiki page, you can see I keep the leaderboard. So I list each kingdom there on the left, try to keep up with their points and which level they're on. So again, as part of my effort to differentiate this particular unit, I allow students to master a quest or to master a mission and then to move on to the next mission. So it's self-paced within the unit. The higher level missions really just require more research and more creativity. So students who master the underlying content faster have more time to play with those things, and students who need more time to master the main ideas and the key concepts have that time as well to work on that. To move on to the next level, they have to demonstrate that they've mastered that. That's usually through turning in an assignment of some sort that I can use as a formative assessment and make sure that they're on the right track. If they turn something in, if they say they've completed the level, and then it's not up to my standards, I just give it back to them, provide corrective instruction if I need to, or some descriptive feedback to let them know what needs to change before they can move to the next level. One thing I wanted to mention about the points. The points in this game don't matter. They're for motivation and they're for fun, they're for competition, but they're not in any way related to students' grades. If you click on each quest, you might notice that a certain number of points is listed for each activity that they could choose. Those points go to the team. Research on motivation shows that students might feel singled out or uncomfortable if you compare individuals to one another. So by giving points to the whole team, no single student is singled out and they still have that motivation to contribute to their kingdom. Individual assignments that they turn in might be graded using a rubric or a checklist to give a student a grade that reflects his or her mastery of the content, but they're not related to the points they're earning for their kingdom. The points are just for fun. Other research on motivation shows that tying points to real-world consequences can actually lessen motivation. It's important for them to live in this game world, this world of imagination. To help increase the fun and keep students engaged, students can unlock different powers or perils for each level. So I'll show you just a few of these. When a kingdom reaches level 1, then they unlock the power of feudal protection. That means if a kingdom is called into battle and they lose their competition against the other kingdom, that the knight in their kingdom can actually step in. I tried to keep the powers and perils actually relevant to the unit. The Magna Carta later on guarantees basic rights to all citizens, so lords and ladies now have to agree with all decisions by the king or queen before he or she can issue a decree. The commercial revolution comes along in level 5, which means that people who are lower levels in the feudal system can actually progress through feudalism. And they have choices to do that by claiming individual points here to move up in rank, or by declaring battle against members within their own kingdom or members in a neighboring kingdom. So again, these are just things to keep it fun. They're very flexible things you could put in any game, but I try to keep them true to the theme of this particular game, which is Kingdom Quest. This has been an introduction to the game of Kingdom Quest, a Middle Ages unit for world history students in high school. For more information, you can always check out the wiki where I host the game. The address is prattworldhistory.pbworks.com. To check out the second iteration of this game, you can go to mchpworld.pbworks.com, and then on the right-hand menu in red is a link that says Kingdom Quest. Thank you.